Archangel Michael says, it's an emergency. Don't tell anyone. It's only for you. This is about X. Your X is open it quickly. Archangel Michael says, it's an emergency. Don't tell anyone. It's only for you. This is about your X. Your X is moving in shadows, and the air around your name has started to taste like electricity, sharp, charged, restless. You can feel it tonight, can't you? The way a room goes still before the storm breaks. The way familiar notifications suddenly feel heavier, like they're carrying more than words. There is a page turning somewhere you cannot see, and your name is inked into the margin in a handwriting you once trusted. This message is not designed to scare you. It is designed to wake the part of you that has slept too long, the part that knows patterns, reads silences, and remembers who you truly are. A 3-second hesitation, a new habit of deleting things, a face growing careful when yours is mentioned. None of this is random. Your ex is not over you, but this is not about romance anymore. It's about territory, your peace, your future, your voice. Somewhere between midnight and morning, a plan began to take shape, first as smoke, then as a rope your ex believes they can tie around your choices. Listen, I will not glorify the past. Love can be a cathedral and a maze, and you walk both. You learned where the light gathers on stone. You learned where the echoes try to trap you. And now the door you once closed is rattling not because you are weak, but because someone on the other side envies the way you locked it. Your ex is telling a story. In this version, they are the one who tried the hardest, bled the most, suffered silently while you danced away from good intentions. It is a story crafted for sympathy, a script delivered to receptive ears that still remember your name with curiosity. The aim is simple: pull attention, gain leverage, make you smaller. What they don't know is that attention without truth burns out quickly, like a flare. What they don't expect is your calm. Calm is not passivity, it is precision. It is knowing which words to release and which to keep like pearls in your palm. You are being watched, not in the theatrical sense, but in the ordinary places where reputations live. Group chats, screenshot folders, the polite nod in a hallway where someone has already decided what to think. Your ex wants to arrive there first. This is why you must hear me now. You will not respond as expected. You will not pick up old games where bait is dressed like closure. You will not offer them the thrill of your anger or the proof of your fear. You will move like an author who already wrote the ending, steady, specific, unshaken. Tonight, take back your narrative. Your story didn't end with heartbreak. It began there. There is a difference between being broken and being opened. You were not shattered. You were shelled, and the softer truth beneath learned how to breathe new air. Your ex is preparing a reveal. It may be a carefully chosen photo, a memory told inside out, or a half-truth tiled to look like a floor you can slip on. They will call it honesty, but honesty without context is theater, and you are no one stage. You this now. Breathe in 4 counts, hold for 4, release for 8. Let your nervous system understand the mission. Panic scrambles signals, calm straightens them into lines you can follow. You don't need to outrun chaos. You only need to step where the ground is real. Remember what the relationship cost you, the hobbies that got quiet, the clothes you stopped wearing, the laughter that sounded like asking permission. Remember how your sleep turned to shallow water and how your light learned to apologize for itself. This memory is not for resentment. It is for calibration. If a message arrives from a number you know by heart, you will not sprint toward it. You will let it arrive like weather and check it with the same patience you would check a forecast. What is the pressure? What is the temperature? Is the sky telling the truth? You decide if you need an umbrella, not the storm. If a friend reaches out with, "I heard something," you will not fall into the trap of defending yourself inside a rumor. You will ask them, gently, to share what they heard word for word. Screenshots are not confrontations, they are mirrors. Let the mirror do the work and save your voice for reality. If an old song plays and your chest tightens, you will not mistake nostalgia for permission. Nostalgia is a kind archivist. She can make even the hard days look sepia. But sepia is not today's color palette. Today, your colors are cleaner. Slate and gold, river and steel. Understand, your ex has convinced themselves there is something you still owe. You do not. Debt does not exist when the currency is your sanity. You gave what you had, and then you gave what you shouldn't have had to. That is not a ledger, that is a lesson. There is a place in your heart that still wants to reason with the ghost. It asks, what if I explain it better? What if I'm kinder? What if they finally understand? Ghosts cannot be reasoned with. They understand only the temperature of the room, and they want it cold enough that you come closer for warmth. Set the room to your climate. Close windows that rattle. Unfollow what shakes you. Mute what barges through your morning. You are not being petty. You are protecting focus. Focus is how you open doors the past cannot enter. You will be tempted to post a cryptic caption to remind the invisible audience that you have more to say. Resist theatrics. Silence is not empty, it is selective. It sends a message to those who need to hear it. I am no longer an exhibit. Your ex is preparing a reunion that is not a reunion. They want to run with a fresh wardrobe, an encore for the scene where you doubt yourself. If they appear near your orbit, at a venue you both love it, inside a feed you both scrolled, you will remember this. Your growth does not require their applause. The night will try to magnify what is small. Loneliness is persuasive after midnight. It can make old words sound sweet. But you know how sugar works. It wakes you, then it drains you. You don't need a sweet fix, you need real food. Real food looks like boundaries, accountability, sleep, water, and the strange relief of saying no. I will tell you something practical, because love needs a backbone. Gather your receipts, not for the sake of public display, but for yourself. Save the messages that show the pattern. Name the dates of the apologies that wore out their shoes. Write down the promises that were always almost. This is not an archive of bitterness. It's a map of how you found your way here. You may still have their belongings where they have yours. There will be a temptation to use this as a tether. No. If something needs to be returned, return it with simplicity and a timestamp. No flourish, no coded playlist, no scented envelope the past can breathe in. Slide it across the counter of closure and walk away with your hands clean. There will be mutual acquaintances who act like brokers of peace. They will say, be the bigger person, when what they mean is be quieter. Being bigger is not the same as being silent. Bigger means you don't shrink to fit inside someone else's lie. Bigger means you stand at your full height and let the light hit you where you once hid. The truth. Your ex is worried about the version of you that woke up. They do not know how to speak to someone who does not need them. Independence is not cruelty. Detachment is not revenge. You aren't punishing anyone. You're choosing air that your lungs agree with. Expect a coincidence. Expect a song dedication in a public story, a text sent accidentally, a shared memory reposted to hint at destiny. This is choreography designed to draw you out. Don't dance because the music is familiar. Dance only when the floor is yours and the song is your future. If they apologize, listen with your eyes. The mouth can rehearse remorse, but the eyes tell you whether the rehearsal ever ended. Has their life changed or just their tone? Have they built a structure that can hold a promise, or are they asking you to move back into a tent that blows down at the first wind? This message is not anti-love. It's anti-self-erasure. If love returns later with clean hands and true plans, you will recognize it not by how it pleads, but by how it builds. A brick laid daily is more beautiful than a bouquet delivered in a crisis. You are allowed to be proud of how far you've come. You are allowed to feel the ache and still say, "Not this time." You are allowed to close your eyes and picture a life where your morning coffee does not tremble around someone's temper. It is not fantasy. It is a blueprint. Your ex has started asking about you at odd hours. It's the hour when memory grows mythic, when the mind edits out the mess and magnifies the moments that glitter. They are chasing the sparkle, not the substance. You are not a sparkle. You are a steady flame. There may be attempts to involve your family, to tug at the edges of your community where you once mingled as a pair. Breathe. The people who know you deeply will hear the quiet confidence in your voice and trust it. The rest were never your jurors. If there is a secret your ex thinks they can weaponize, remember, a truth carried by someone who doesn't love you becomes a rumor in their hands. But the same truth, held by you, can become a testimony. Let nothing they hold over you stay in the dark corners of your mind. Light is your ally. You will create a sanctuary. It may be a chair by a window, a playlist without ghosts, a phone background that reminds you of oceans. It may be a morning walk where your footsteps become a drumbeat that calls you forward. Sacred spaces are not always grand. Sometimes they are just rooms where you let yourself laugh without permission. On difficult days, write the following on paper you can fold into your pocket. My peace is not negotiable. My worth is not a vote. My future does not require an audience. Carry it with you. When your hands shake, let the paper be a small island. Your ex will try to measure your progress by your reaction to them. Don't let them be your metric. Measure by the way your sleep deepens, by the messages you ignore, by the projects you begin and actually finish, by the way your body sighs from relief instead of sadness. You are not behind. Our time is different from clock time. Healing is not linear. It's a spiral staircase. You see the same view from higher floors and think you haven't moved until you notice the horizon is lower and the air is clearer. Forgiveness is a door you open for yourself. It does not require reunion. It does not require applause. Forgiveness is releasing your nervous system from having to relive the argument in order to survive it. If the word feels too heavy right now, set it down. You can pick it up later like a jacket that finally fits. And now, I must tell you the part that will try to frighten you but will actually free you. Your ex is close to making a dramatic move, one that looks like grand love or grand closure. Depending on the audience, you will be intense. It will be public or peculiarly timed. It will be designed to reset the power dynamic. You will not play chess on a board they bring to your door. If a move arrives that feels theatrical, you step off the stage. If a message arrives that demands urgency, you slow down. Urgency is the mask of manipulation. Real care makes room for your pacing. You can be gentle without being available. You can be gracious without being accessible. You can be kind without being captured. These are not contradictions. They are boundaries stitched with dignity. Here is what you do with the next 7 days. Day 1. Clean your digital garden. Unfollow shadows. Archive conversations that hoard your attention. Create folders labeled past, now, and next. Move things accordingly. Day 2. Make one promise to your body and keep it. Water before coffee. A walk before doom scrolling. Sleep before screens. Your nervous system is your first guardian. Day 3. Talk to someone who tells you the truth and loves you enough not to perform it. In their eyes, find the reflection of the person you keep forgetting you are. Day 4. Create something small, a note, a recipe, a paragraph. Completion is medicine. It returns your sense of authorship. Day 5. Revisit a boundary that leaks and patch it. You will feel mean for 10 minutes and then free for 10 hours. Day 6. Do one practical task your future self will thank you for. Appointments, finances, documents. Order tames fear. Day 7. Celebrate without occasion. Wear the outfit that made you say oh. Play the track that makes your shoulders remember rhythm. Light a candle for no reason other than you exist. Within these days, something will shift. Your ex will feel it. They will sense that their gravity no longer throws you off course. They may increase the intensity. Smile quietly. This is what the end of an old spell looks like. The performer shouts louder as the audience heads for the door. If you stumble, that is allowed. If you cry, that is holy. If you miss them, that is human. Feelings are weather. They pass. You are the sky. You remain. Every hour you choose yourself, the past loses one thread from the net it used to cast. You may wonder if they will ever truly let go. That is not your assignment. Your assignment is letting go of who you had to be in order to be with them. You do not need to prove you are over it. You only need to be busy living. Someone new will eventually notice the way you carry your name now, unafraid, unrushed. They will speak softly to your future, not loudly to your wounds. But even before that, there is a version of you waiting to meet you at a table you once avoided. They kept the seat warm. And if, in some distant hour, your ex returns with genuine change and not just polished language, you will not be afraid of that truth either. You will welcome it as you would a passerby with no claim to your house, kindly, clearly, with the door open just enough to say hello and the wisdom to keep your keys. The old story is ending. The new one is not a sudden explosion of fireworks. It is a constellation appearing, star by star, as your eyes adjust to the dark. The pattern was always there. You simply needed to stand still long enough to see it. Know this. I do not send messages for the sake of drama. I send them because you are on the cusp of a choice that will edit 1,000 smaller choices. Choose yourself, and the echo of that choice will travel into rooms you have not entered yet. Your ex will try a final act. When it arrives, it will look like a gateway. You will know the difference between a gate back into the maze and a gate out into the field by how your breath behaves. If your breath becomes shallow, you are being invited to shrink. If your breath deepens, you are being invited to grow. The field has been waiting for you, wide, unclaimed, honest. Walk there without narrating it to anyone who hasn't earned a seat at your quiet. Let your joy become a private language first and a public song later. There is a number in your phone you will rename tonight, not out of petness but out of peace. There is a playlist you will retire. There is a photograph you will move from your altar to your archive. None of this is erasure. It is respectful distance from a chapter that taught you its last lesson. You are not hard to love. You were hard to manipulate. There is a difference. The right heart will not mistake your clarity for cruelty. The right hands will hold your boundaries like they are part of your beauty. If you need a mantra when the night grows loud, I choose what is steady. I release what is heavy. I return to what is true. Whisper it once, then switch the lights off on arguments you can't win because they are staged to keep you arguing. When morning comes, you will notice the shape of your day is different. Where anxiety used to plant its flag, curiosity appears. Where confusion used to call the shots, intention sits in the chair. You did that. Quietly. Bravely. Without permission slips from the past. This is the last thing, when the message from your ex finally pings, whether it is a confession, an accusation, or a plea. Do not let it decide your schedule. Let it wait on the table while you finish making breakfast for your life. Breathe. Reply only if a reply serves your future, not your fear. And if you do replying, let it be short, accurate, and kind. Kindness is not a reopening. It is proof that you no longer live by the weather report of someone else's moods. Accuracy is not a debate. It is a full stop. Shortness is not cold. It is clarity. Leave the door of your heart unlocked for goodness, not for ghosts. The ones meant to walk with you will knock in daylight, and they will not mind that you ask them to take off their shoes. You are ready. The emergency is real, but you are calm within it. You are not fragile. You are focused. You do not need revenge. You need room. You do not need their approval. You need your own attention returned to you like a set of keys. Go now. Water your plants. Charge your phone. Charge your spirit. Keep your secrets sacred and your boundaries blessed. When you hear the old footsteps outside your door, smile because you know which doors open upward. To the field, to the sky, to the life that grew quietly while you healed. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks with contributions of up to $20. Let's keep going. The quiet power you're building will confuse anyone who only recognizes loudness as strength. Your ex expects an eruption. You're giving them weather that simply clears. When habits call you back, answer with a ritual that points you forward. Put your phone in another room while you get ready in the morning, so the day meets your face before any old story does. Make the first words you read be your own, even if it's a single line you wrote last night. If a dream drags you backward, resist decoding it to fit their narrative. Dreams are a washing machine for feelings, not instructions for your calendar. Let them rinse through, wake, drink water, and note one true thing about today that has nothing to do with the past. There will be days you think, maybe I overreacted. On those days, read the notes you kept about patterns you promised not to accept again. Read them out loud the way a lighthouse repeats its beam. Same truth, steady rhythm, no apology. You are not overreacting to red flags, you're responding to them. You may receive third-party updates disguised as care. They are not doing well. Someone might say, hoping your compassion will reopen the door. Compassion is not a skeleton key. You can feel for someone and still keep your home locked. Boundaries don't cancel empathy. They keep it honest. Keep a small response kit for surprise contact. Inside it, 3 messages you can copy-paste. 1. I'm not available for this conversation. Take care. 2. Please direct any necessary logistics to email only. 3. I don't consent to my name or details being shared. Please remove them. These aren't weapons. They are umbrellas. They don't escalate. They keep you dry. If your ex tries to bait you with half-truths in public, remember the difference between audience and community. Audience is curious. Community is caring. Speak only to community. Audience can watch the weather if they want. They aren't invited to discuss your climate. When loneliness bites, give it a task instead of a throne. Ask it to walk with you to the market, to help you pick fruit that smells like mornings you haven't eaten yet. Ask it to sit while you cook something simple. When your hands move, your heart remembers you are here. Your ex may attempt a nostalgia season, revisiting places, reposting anniversaries, captioning old photos with funny how life works. Life works because you work it. The past is not an estate you owe property tax on. You move it. You forwarded your mail to a new soul address. If a mutual friend says they've changed, listen with grace and distance. Change has evidence. It shows up in calendars, budgets, therapy notes, apologies that don't need stage lighting. If the evidence exists, you will see it without needing to audition for the role of believer. Let's talk tactics you might encounter: hoovering, sudden sweetness, promises stacked like gift boxes. Your counter move: unwrap none of them. Ask yourself, is this sustainable on a quiet Tuesday? If the answer is only on a dramatic night, file it under theater props. Triangulation, bringing in a third person to pressure you, friend, family, even a new partner. Your counter move: step out of the triangle. I'll discuss this directly with the person involved, or not at all. Triangles collapse when you refuse to be a corner. Projection, accusing you of what they are doing. Your counter move: document, don't debate. Documentation is sunlight. Debates in bad faith are caves that steal your oxygen. If a late-night message arrives with "I just need closure," remember, closure given under duress isn't closure. It's a loop. Closure is what you gave yourself when you chose peace over familiar chaos. You're not withholding, you're concluding. There is a strength in the sentence: "That's not my story to hold anymore." Say it when an old memory tries to bill you. Say it when your body anticipates an argument that will never be productive. Say it when your ex tries to make you curator of their regret. Build a proof of life board for your future: images, phrases, small plans. It could be a class you will take, a train ride you will gift yourself, a recipe you will master, a quiet corner you will turn into a reading nook. Put it where your eyes land often. It reminds your nervous system that safety isn't theoretical, it has furniture. Practice the 24-hour rule: when something stings, wait a full day before responding. In those hours, tend to your body like a garden after hail: gentle, deliberate, no sudden pruning. Responses born from regulation carry more truth than those born from adrenaline. If you cross paths in public, imagine an invisible line on the floor. Your side, their side. Stay on yours. Not if you must, but keep your feet loyal to your exit plan. You do not need to perform being over it. Leaving early is a fluent language. Your ex might foil you: fear, obligation, guilt, and their image. To each, you have an answer: fear, I've survived worse than a message. Obligation, I don't owe what costs me myself. Guilt, my growth is not a crime scene. Image, I'm not responsible for their audience. If there was good in what you had, and there was, honor it by not letting the bad rewrite all of it. You can hold gratitude for the parts that grew you and still decline the invitation back into smallness. Growth doesn't need you to trash the past, it asks you to release it. Make room for healthy love by practicing it on yourself in small, shameless ways. Replace scrolling their life with studying your dreams. Replace the late-night spiral with a journal called "Proof I Keep Promises to Me." Keep the entry short. Slept on time, ate well, didn't answer bait. Let the list become a spine. Your ex may attempt a public apology crafted for applause. Applause is loud and brief. Change is quiet and consistent. You don't owe your presence to a performance. You owe your presence to a life that feeds you. If they knock on your literal door, you're allowed to not open it. You're allowed to speak through wood, through a chain, through silence. Safety beats politeness. Always. Give yourself ceremonies for tiny victories. When you ignore a hook, light a small candle. When you choose rest over rehashing, pour water into a glass you love. Mark the moment like a traveler circling a date on the map. Here I chose me. When your heart argues that maybe it wasn't that bad, remember the baseline. The version of you that kept shrinking to fit a story that wasn't yours. Thank that version for surviving. Tell them they aren't needed at the front gate anymore. Give them a soft chair and let them nap. You will notice your standards climbing without effort. You will notice how the right conversations feel like deep breaths you didn't have to ask permission to take. You will notice laughter returning with weight in it. Real, grounded, unafraid of echoes. Create a no-contact altar if it helps. A shelf with 3 objects that remind you of your direction. Perhaps a stone from a walk you took alone. A photo of a horizon. A handwritten promise to yourself. When temptation speaks, look there and remember you already chose. If logistics force contact, shared bills, stored items, paperwork, compress communication into a single window of the week. Use email. Use bullet points. Use timestamps. Logistics don't need adjectives. You will not justify your boundaries to people who benefit when you have none. You will not litigate your healing. You will not submit evidence of pain to earn permission to protect yourself. Your boundary is not a suggestion, it's a structure. In the weeks ahead, expect your body to release held adrenaline. You might be tired. Let rest be a teacher, not a guilt trip. Fatigue after survival is not laziness. It's the bill coming due for nights you carried more than a heart should. As your energy returns, you'll feel an urge to build. Choose one corner of your life and make it unmistakably yours. Rearrange a room, you write a plan, relabel files, fresh names for fresh faces. Language matters. Call it what it is, a beginning. If someone asks why you're distant, you don't owe details. I'm focusing on what's healthy for me is a complete sentence. You can be transparent without being porous. Keep a short list titled Things I Will Never Barter Again. Your sleep, your friendships, your creative time, your laughter. Put a star next to the one you sacrificed most before. Guard it like you would a passport. You might catch yourself smiling at nothing. That's what happens when the nervous system stops bracing. Let people wonder. Let them create stories. You don't need to curate their curiosity. You're busy gardening your reality. There will be a day when your ex's name lands in your ear like a pebble, not a boulder. It will make a small sound and then sink without ripples. You won't celebrate. You'll simply notice the quiet and get back to your book. On the rare occasion you feel tempted to prove you've won by being happy publicly, remember, joy that needs a witness is still negotiating with the past. Let your joy be sovereign. Share it when it wants to be shared, not when you need it to argue your case. If anger appears, use it as fuel for boundaries, not fire for bridges. Anger that builds offense is wisdom. Anger that burns your own path is self-sabotage. Put your fire in the hearth of your routines and let it warm you, not scorch you. You are rewriting the reflex that taught you to rush toward noise. You are learning to interpret silence not as punishment but as space. In space, seeds sprout. In space, You hear your real voice. In space, the future finally has room to park. Remember, your ex's last powerful move is always a story about you that only exists where you don't live, other people's minds. You don't have to move there to redecorate. Keep your address. Keep your peace. Let the mail they sent to the wrong house be returned to sender by time. When the year turns and you look back, you will see how many of your days became yours again. The calendar will look ordinary, but you will know which Thursdays were miracles. You will know which Tuesdays broke a curse. You will know the Sunday you stopped checking your phone before sunlight. The emergency that began this message hasn't disappeared. You simply became the person who knows where the exits are and how to choose them without spectacle. That is mastery. That is quiet, radical safety. Carry forward what matters. Your humor, your stubborn hope, your odd little rituals that make you feel human. Leave behind what pretends to be love while asking you to dim. There is no premium ticket back to smallness that could ever compete with the standing room view of your own becoming. You're almost bored of the drama now, and that boredom is a sign of healing. It means your nervous system no longer finds chaos interesting. Boredom will soon become curiosity. Curiosity becomes momentum. Momentum becomes a life that doesn't have to announce itself to be real. What gun? If the past calls, let it go to voicemail you never check. If the future calls, answer like a person who knows their own name. Speak it with the calm authority of someone who earned it the long way. And when you sit tonight, in the light you chose, tell the room, I kept going. That's the entire secret. You kept going. You learned how to stop returning. You learned how to stay. You are not hiding. You are home. You're learning the quiet choreography of staying free. This is the step where you no longer let every vibration on your phone be a hook in your skin. You read your life like a map with new street names, and none of them lead back to the cul-de-sac where you kept turning circles. There's a simple practice for when the night replays the greatest hits. Put your hand on your chest and say your name the way a friend would say it. Say it again the way a future partner will say it. Steady, warm, unhurried, and notice how your body settles because it believes voices that do not rush it. Make a small pact with the morning. Before you touch a screen, touch a page. Write 3 lines. What you're grateful for, what you're building, what you're releasing. Gratitude is your anchor, building is your oar, release is your wind. You won't always feel like sailing, but the boat will be ready. If a mutual tries to convince you that life is short, just talk to them. Remember that shortness doesn't mean you should spend precious minutes explaining the math of your boundaries. Some equations are not for public chalkboards. They balance inside your bones. You are allowed to curate your spaces like galleries. No exhibits that trigger tremors. Remove old souvenirs that pretend to be sentimental while secretly petitioning for a sequel. Place objects that declare your new direction, even if it's as small as a single bright mug that says, I belong to mornings without chaos. If paperwork binds you, leases, loans, logistics, be precise and boring. Boring is a superpower in volatile weather. When the other side tries to turn a spreadsheet into a screenplay, decline the audition and send the document. Your ex may switch tactics from storm to drizzle. Small, harmless-looking contact designed to soften the ground. Drizzle is what Eroian loves. Lotus Urla. Carry your umbrella of clear phrases. I'm not available to reconnect. Please keep communications to necessary matters only. I wish you well, over there. On a day you feel strong, walk the old route you once walked together. Not to invite ghosts, but to remind your feet that the ground belongs to you, not to memory. Stand where you once waited. Breathe until the scene resizes and the present pushes its shoulders back. Practice no as a kindness to your nervous system. Not a defensive no, but a gentle one, like closing a window before rain. No is how you demonstrate trust to yourself. The first time you hear it from your own mouth without apology, you will sleep differently that night. If a box of their things sits in a corner, schedule a final handoff with guardrails, daylight hours, neutral location, a friend nearby, a time cap. Write the plan. Stick to it like a pilot follows instruments through clouds. The goal isn't drama, it's completion. Completion will arrive without fanfare. It will sound like the kettle clicking off and you realizing you didn't think of them once while the water boiled. It will feel like taking a photo and forgetting to wonder if they would approve. That's how sovereignty returns, quietly, and then all at once. When shame tries to narrate your past choices, let compassion interrupt. You did your best with the information and capacity you had. Now you have more information and more capacity. This called growth, not guilt. You don't owe shame a microphone in your house. If someone demands your side of the story, remember, you are not a spokesperson for the past. You can decline the press conference with a single line. I'm focused on my well-being and the future. Currency saved, hours of explaining, interest earned, calm. There's an exercise that resets the room when the air gets thin. Name 5 things you can see, 4 you can touch, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. You'll feel the world return to your edges. Presence is the opposite of panic. Beware the urgent invitation. It will arrive when you're tired or tender. Can we talk right now? It can't wait. Almost everything can wait. What cannot wait is your safety, your sleep, your scheduled call with yourself to ask, does this serve where I'm going? Some days you will want to post a quote that lands like a dart. Write it, but send it to your private notes instead. Let the digital world be a garden you prune with intention, not a field you shout across hoping the wind translates. You are allowed to mourn the future you imagine. A version of you loved hard in a timeline that didn't unfold. Hold a small vigil for that blueprint. Thank it for teaching you what you require in architecture going forward. More windows, stronger beams, no hidden rooms. When you catch a reflection and recognize your face as if meeting it after a long trip, pause. Say welcome back, not as a performance, but as a readmission. The parts of you that went quiet for peace are learning the language of volume again, carefully, beautifully. There may be moments when memory feels like a second skin you can't peel off. In those moments, change rooms, literally. Move to a brighter corner, open a window, change the soundtrack. Motion confuses the ghosts that rely on repetition to keep breathing. Create a decision dock for the next time they push for an answer. Dock every choice and require 3 checks. Does it respect my boundary? Does it honor my future? Does it match their demonstrated behavior, not their promises? If any answer is no, the boat stays tied. You might receive a letter that reads like closure poetry. Poetry is lovely. Patterns are louder. Line breaks cannot break cycles. Appreciate the craft if you must, and then return to the calendar where habits live. Be patient with the friends who only knew you as half of a pair. They will adjust to your full silhouette. Some won't. Either outcome is a compass. You are not required to shrink so that old frames still fit. On a late afternoon when the light turns everything gold, you will consider the idea of forgiveness again. If it lands in your palm like a smooth stone instead of a weapon turned inward, keep it. If it still cuts you, set it down. There is no moral prize for bleeding in the name of virtue. There is a door in your chest that used to swing open at the slightest touch of your ex's name. You have installed a latch. It isn't a lock against love, it's a latch for discernment. It opens from the inside, not the outside. That's how you'll know who belongs. Keep your rituals unglamorous. Glamour is for stages. Routines are for lives. Water your plants. Wash your sheets. Rotate your passwords. Book your checkups. The mundane is the meadow where miracles graze without spectators. If you find yourself stalking their timeline, forgive the impulse and redirect it to your own timeline. Post nothing if you like. Or post a photo of a small thing that felt like a win today. Treat your life as a place to live, not a set to broadcast. When anger wants to testify, choose a witness who won't turn it into gasoline. A therapist, a journal, a friend who replies with steadying questions, not encouraging screams. Anger that is seen lovingly becomes boundary energy. Anger that is cheered recklessly becomes collateral damage. You may fear the next love will ask you to forget this lesson. The next love, worthy of your time, will ask to learn this lesson with you. It will want to know the blueprint, not bulldoze the foundation. They will be curious about the switches and where the fuse box lies. Your ex might float a room with it. You were always difficult. Smile softly. Difficult to manipulate, yes. Difficult to dim, yes. Difficulty is subjective when ease was defined as don't make me accountable. You are allowed to be difficult in houses that worship convenience over care. Hold space for the possibility that your ex will one day become someone safer, for themselves, for others. That possibility does not obligate you to audition for the role of first beneficiary. You can bless a distant horizon without moving your tent. There's a phrase to keep in your pocket for sudden invitations back into the maze. That doesn't work for me. It carries no venom, invites no debate, and closes the loop. Healthy people recognize it as clarity. Unhealthy people hear it as betrayal. Either way, it stands. Rehearse your exits the way performers rehearse bows. Not because you plan to flee every room, but because grace under pressure is learned in quiet hours. Your exit is not a flounce. It's a continuation of your path to somewhere with more air. When you feel like you've said no 100 times and nothing changes, flip the script, stop saying no to them, and start saying yes to something that replaces the space. Yes to an evening class. Yes to a book club. Yes to sitting on the floor and organizing old photos into albums that tell a truer story. One evening, you'll hear a laugh and realize it's yours. Unedited. There will be no audience to certify it. It will swell, then settle. The way oceans do. It will be enough. It will be proof that the story kept going even when you were certain the credits had rolled. If you are tempted to retaliate, remember the economy of your energy. What you spend on reaction, you cannot invest in creation. Revenge is a currency that devalues the moment you spend it. Build something instead, a routine, a boundary, a room that feels like a friend. Sometimes the bravest thing is to admit you still miss them, and then cook dinner anyway. Bravery is often domestic. It stirs sauce at a low simmer while sorrow stands at the doorway and realizes it can no longer set the stove to high. When you do nothing in response to a provocation, it can feel like failure. It is not. It is an action called holding. The strongest bridges are low, bearing in silence. You are learning to hold without broadcasting that you are holding. Plan a tiny pilgrimage for yourself. Not an expensive trip, just a visit to a place that reminds you of your first apartment building. Your first job's neighborhood. Your first park bench in a new city. Tell those places what you've survived since. Let them witness your return. As the season changes, so will your thresholds. What you tolerated last winter will feel absurd by spring. What you believed you needed in summer will fall away in autumn. Let the year teach you that consistency and change can be friends when guided by self-respect. You are allowed to delete messages you once read like sacred texts. Sacredness that requires your suffering is not sacredness. It is superstition. Keep one line if you must. The one that reminds you you're alive. Let the rest go back to the cloud where unkept promises evaporate. When people tell you that moving on means you did love deeply, let your smile answer. Depth is measured by the courage to leave the bottom and rise. You are not abandoning love by ascending. You are honoring it by insisting it be breathable. If the past drifts through a crack, seal it kindly. I see you, memory. Thank you. You may go. Treat memory like a visitor with stories, not a landlord with keys. You own the lease now. You negotiated better terms with yourself. There will be a day when a stranger does something small and tender that wrecks you, in the best way. They'll hold a door, or pronounce your name right, or remember how you take your tea after hearing it once. You'll feel a tremor in the old architecture. That's not a sign to rebuild the past. It's a signal that the future has standards. As you keep walking, you'll notice the emergency lights dimming. Not because the situation wasn't real, but because you became a person with exits drawn into muscle memory. You can now guide others through smoke without entering the fire. That is how pain is transfigured into wisdom. If your ex finally fades into folklore in your life, you may feel an odd loyalty to the ache that kept you company. Like it, then send it home. You are not an inn for every traveler called What If. You are a home for rhythms that keep you whole. You will look back at this season and see not a chapter about them, but a chapter about thresholds, about how you learn to step over, through, and past anything that asked you to be smaller than your soul. That is the plot. That is the point. That is the promise you kept. Go on. The rest of your life is not waiting impatiently. It is waiting faithfully, exactly where you will meet it, in the ordinary miracle of the next honest breath, the next kind decision, the next unremarkable morning where peace, not performance, pours your coffee. You're not running anymore. You're refining. The difference shows up in how you answer your own questions with actions instead of explanations. It looks like knowing what to do with your hands when old habits wave from across the street. Build a small wins ledger on paper you actually touch. Each night, note 3 steady things you did that no one clapped for but mattered. Consistency turns down the volume on chaos until it sounds like a distant faucet you finally remember to shut. When a date on the calendar tries to ambush you, anniversary, birthday, first trip, preload the day with anchors. Blend tenderness of maneuvers unplanned spirals. If a message arrives that is part affection and part accusation, don't get trapped in the half that flatters. Mixed signals are still red when the mix includes your peace as the prize. Reply only to logistics. Let emotions that come dressed as emergencies wait outside. There's a language your nervous system trusts. Fresh air, warm food, honest movement, simple order. Speak it daily. The body believes routines that show up, not speeches that promise. Make a contacts list labeled future. Put in it only the names who help you remember your direction. When you feel pulled backward, call one of them and borrow their steadiness until yours returns. Community is a tool, not a rumor mill. On a quiet afternoon, Write the story of the relationship from the perspective of your boundaries. Let them narrate the day they were crossed, the day they were rebuilt, the day they were respected by you. Reading it back rearranges where the power sits. If you coexist in shared spaces, work, community, gyms, design your choreography in advance. Arrive with an exit, a neutral greeting, and a task that keeps you moving. Motion dissolves awkwardness like salt in warm water. Prepare for the good memory trap. A sweet recollection will flash and try to argue its way into your schedule. Thank it for the reminder that you can love beautifully, then spend that capacity on people who don't require contortions. When a mutual sends a screenshot to keep you in the loop, ask yourself if the loop is a lasso. Loops pretend to inform while actually binding. Set a new rule. Information that doesn't change your behavior is noise. Curate your digital corners like you would a room you intend to rest in. Hide keywords that spike your heart. Mute songs that tilt the floor. Replace doom scrolls with a saved folder titled Today's Build, Recipes, Stretches, Paragraphs, Plans. Keep a 3-line email template for logistics-only interactions. Greeting, bullet list, closing. Remove adjectives, remove nostalgia, remove apology. Logistics thrive when language doesn't wander. If you feel the need to speak your truth publicly, pause and consider audience fit. The right ears might be a therapist, a trusted friend, or a blank page. The internet is a stadium that echoes everything, including what you didn't mean. You may dream of reconciliation even when you don't want it. Dreams are pressure valves, not prophecies. Let them empty the room, then open a window and let morning in. Practice response decay. The longer a message waits, the less you owe it emotionally. After 24 hours, answer with clarity only. After 72, answer with logistics only. After a week, its silence is an answer. Give your future a place to sit in your home. A chair with a notebook on it. A corner with a plant that's thriving because you kept watering. Sit there when you're tempted to revisit what starved you. Let the green remind you you've changed your diet. When collective events arrive, holidays, festivals, family gatherings, decide your script ahead of time. I'm keeping things simple this year. I'm focusing on work and health. I'm good, thank you. George True Clothed Lou. If you're pulled into a conversation about blame, shift to responsibility. Blame is courtroom air. Responsibility is fresh oxygen. You're responsible for the life you're building now. That's more than enough assignment. Expect a gift drop, a package at your door, a memory token on a table you share socially. Gifts can be walls disguised as bridges. If accepting entangles, decline kindly. If returning is cleaner, return without ceremony. Design micro rewards for boundary keeping. A song after you don't reply. A long bath after you delete the draft. A late sun walk after you choose sleep over scrolling. Celebrate the invisible victories that rebuild your spine. Keep 5 phrases within reach that end conversations without cruelty. I don't have the capacity for this. That topic isn't healthy for me. I'm stepping away now. I wish you well. Oh. When envy flares at their performative growth, convert it into curiosity about your next lesson. Ask yourself what skill would make your days lighter. Budgeting, cooking, conflict skills, a new craft. You roll your energy in learning, not watching. If you fall back into a thread and feel the old hook catch, step out without shame. I'm ending this conversation. And end it. You don't owe post-trip. You owe yourself oxygen. Write a pact with your sleep. Screens off at a set hour. A simple wind down. A promise to tomorrow you that you won't hand the night to yesterday. Protecting sleep is protecting judgment. Protecting judgment is protecting freedom. Notice how your humor comes back drier, wiser, kinder to yourself. Laugh at the right things, the dramatic texts you didn't send, the scenes you exited gracefully, the way peace makes everything taste better. If a "we can be friends" invitation appears, measure it by capacity, not nostalgia. Friendship is a resource exchange, time, care, attention. If the account would be overgrown on day one, close it with gratitude and truth. Keep your projects visible, sticky notes, whiteboard, calendar blocks. Visible progress reduces the radius where old stories can orbit. Busy is not healing, purpose is. Choose purpose with margins for rest. Set a date on the calendar 3 months ahead. Review the distance. On that day, write what has changed. Name the ways your body moves differently through rooms. Evidence dissolves doubt better than pep talks. If guilt arrives wearing family's face, offer it a chair and a limit. You can love your people without inheriting their expectations. I hear you. I'm choosing differently. Repeat until the script learns you won't improvise under pressure. Prepare for the last gambit. It might be a confession or an accusation. Either way, the aim is to re-enter your nervous system. Breathe. Read it as if it were sent to someone you protect fiercely. Answer the way you would protect them. Let music be medicine, not memory manipulation. Build a playlist your past has no key to. New artists, new tempos, new miles. Let your steps learn different drums. Remember, you did not fail at love. You succeeded at self-return. The diploma looks like boundaries and quiet mornings and friends who know your laugh now. Frame it with your routines. When strangers show you basic respect and it startles you, don't shame the surprise. It's a sign your bar has moved from bare minimum that felt like luxury to minimum that feels normal. That recalibration is priceless. Keep a no relitigation rule with yourself. Once you reach clarity on a pattern, don't keep reopening court just because a lonely hour asks for entertainment. Case close is a skill. Treat hope like a garden tool, not a trap. Hope turns soil. It doesn't chain you to a plot that won't grow. Use it to plant where conditions are honest. On a day when you miss what was almost as much as what was, take a new photo in a place you've never stood before. Let the lens prove there are angles your heart hasn't seen yet. If the world labels you cold, translate it to clear and carry on. Warmth that burns you is not hospitality, it's habit. You're learning how to heat your life without setting it on fire. Your ex's storyline may continue without you. Let it. Every tale needs an audience. Not every audience is obligated. You're busy writing chapters that don't require a defense attorney. There will be mornings when the sky looks ordinary and your chest feels light for no special reason. That is the miracle, not the fireworks. Ordinary lightness is the dividend of 1,000 quiet choices. Teach your calendar the rhythm of your new loyalty. Work that matters. Rest you honor. People who hold your name gently. When a stray hour asks what now, spend it on maintenance. Tidy a drawer, stretch. Plan meals, breathe. Maintenance keeps the old storms from slipping back through cracks. One late night, you'll scroll your own messages and realize they read like someone you trust. That's not an accident. That's craft. You're crafting the narrator you needed. If ever you wonder whether you made the right call, ask your body. The truth feels like room. The past felt like a hallway you had to walk sideways through. Trust the room. Keep going. Keep choosing. Keep building the kind of life that doesn't require you to announce that you're okay, because the evidence is everywhere. Folded laundry, unread bait, laughter that lands, sleep that keeps. The emergency taught you exits. Your future will teach you entrances.